And we are back with series number 2 of the final day this week, week 6. It's looking pretty good as the standings have all rounded out. This game is literally just to see how competitive they want to make it, but it's Mammoth versus Fury, Skimmy. It's going to be I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I think it should be, based on what we've seen from these players in the past. Right, we had a Smolder from the last game out of Mammoth. We've had Nidalees from him in the past as well. We've had a Fiora top lane as well. I think Prey's really come into a league of his own to showcase that I could be a rookie. But I've got hands, they work. I'm not afraid of anybody. Nameplates are off or on, doesn't really matter. I'm going to go in for a fight. So I'm hoping that we're going to get more surprises, more unique champions, and get to truly witness a game where there is no pressure on the line.
Well, talking about no surprises, let's have a look at our first roster, which is Mammoth, because they're looking pretty good. We're pretty happy with where they're at. You mentioned Prey that he's going to be feeling so happy at the moment. And this team, again, they've held their own at least, and they're trying to make their mark, Tally.
Yeah, and I think this roster is one that is really good at cooking up really surprising picks. You know, we've seen the Kai'Sa and the Aphelios out of Preyth in the mid lane. We always thought that this would be the meta that would make him shine the most, and it's nice to see that he is playing more AD carries towards the end of the split. While this game has no implications, and this will be the last time we see them for this season, have to see what they want to come out with for this last match. Do they want to have a bit of fun, or do they want to show everyone that they, even though they did fall short, they still had the potential to be a really good team?
Well, they are up against our other team tonight, Fury. Look at all of those beautiful photos coming in. Findo, I'm trying to bait Rosie into actually giving us Findo something to play other than Nautilus or Leona. So fingers crossed we can have a bit of fun on this one. But Hooper, Chirp, Nox, Prey, this team's looking pretty good.
They are. They certainly are. They've showcased that they've got a lot of drafting diversity. They found a way to get Nox on some AP junglers, and it looked like a different beast, right? Neferi came out in the mid lane in from Chirp, and we had multiple surprises as the team leveled up from just an understanding of what works in the meta and how they can apply their own brand to it. So I think as long as that trend continues, they can also be a bit of a dark horse in this competition, because it was a Fiora that got a win. It was a Zyra that was 1v9ing, and a champion in Nizeri that just got to really do as it pleased. So, yeah, I'm sort of curious to see just how many curveballs we get thrown in this one.
Okay, put a guess out. How many curveballs are we actually going to get? There's usually 3 pitches in baseball. I'm going to say three curveballs. We're going to see 3 fairly unique champions that have maybe no real reason to be there, but we're going to see it. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I think we get like a Morgana jungle. We get maybe a Smolder game. There's 2. And then maybe like a Seraphine in the bot lane. There's 3. GG.
All right. Okay. Well, let's have a look at our head-to-head. I'm curious to see those Skimmy. We'll have to wait when we get into the game. But let's have a look at this head-to-head of our beautiful mid laners. And they just look as good. Again, we have to just talk about, the plethora of all these champions played. And it's just looking like, again, there's the Wonder Fury game that we saw so well. But Tally, what can you build? What do you do for these champions? These guys are too good. They play everything.
Yeah, a bit of a champion ocean for both players, and I think that Chirp has started, trend setting in Oster a bit, because, after the Neferi game popped up in the LCO, I've seen the champ in so many of my solo queue games, and it does feel a bit annoying to lane burst. I don't know why the champ gets a shield on trades for some reason. I don't even understand half the kit, so, I am caught off guard a lot of times, but he has, dove into this AD mid playstyle very heavily. I see him playing a lot of AD carries in solo queue besides Neferi, so I think that this is the playstyle they're really going for going forward. And Predeath, once again, that AD carry player that we all know, I think he's going to be very comfortable in an AD carry versus AD carry matchup in the mid lane.
Well, that's also it, right? I think the big thing you can mention on top of Chirp being able to pick up more AD champions is it's alleviated the pressure of Nox to play that AP jungler, which is definitely the meta at the moment. And it's nice to see that this team has been together this whole time and they're getting that diversity back. Isn't that right, Skimmy?
Well, that's exactly right. Yeah, the ability to make sure that we've got our own style, but at the same time we can conform to the meta if it's just that widely broken, or if it sort of warrants it for the matchup we're going into, right? Maybe you do need to fight fire with fire on a certain occasion. You can't just eke out advantages with some crazy pick, time and time again. I think for me it is the fact that Nox has had such a big champion pool for a jungler. I think he had top 3 biggest champion pool with 10 unique champions played this entire split, right? So he went his direction with the AD champions, got a chance to go for the AP, and suddenly now it's just well, you don't ever want to waste a ban towards me, because yeah, that Bel'Veth ban is nice, but it's just hurting your drafting chances up against us.
Yeah, that's it. We start seeing those champions, the Zyra that he popped off so well. But let's look at Mammoth, the other side of this, right? I think there's something we can't skip over. Predator in this mid lane is like that AD carry sort of wizard. Are we expecting to see another strong AD carry? Is the Tristana going to come out? Could we see the Zeri mid finally, Tally?
I think it's more than likely we're going to see those top 80 carries banned towards Predator. I think it's a mistake to give players like Raze and Predator the very comfortable like Corki Tristanas, and then I think forcing them to go down a bit in the 80 carry tier list. Maybe play like a Lucian and Ezreal, maybe the Zeri. We'll have to see, but I think that we are going to see an 80 carry come out of him. What's it going to be though? We've already seen the Affilio, so
Affilios mid. Oh no.
he is not afraid to play these champs that no one else is touching.
I think there might be a reason why they're not touching it.
No.
believe.
No.
But like, I'll play devil's advocate, but I won't. Like, you know what? I believe now. I'm gonna
Good.
I believe.
Okay. Welcome aboard, mate.
Billy or Smith. Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm back on the good train. But no, again, it's something I'm curious to see. Right? I think I wanna see some unique picks. I think that's the goal of this week. I've been excited to see these teams that are now everything's lined up. You can't really change where you're at. Play something fun, because you don't really want to show your hand heading into playoffs, especially for Fury here. Like, they are locked in. Like, do they just stick to something stock standard so they're not showing everything? Skimmy.
I'm wondering, because there's definitely an argument for and against. Like, the one stage, maybe they want to try and practice everything they've been cooking up for playoffs, and this is a great opportunity where the stakes are super low for them to get those 2 games. So yeah, sure, you get a chance to look at it, but it doesn't really matter. As for Mammoth, I think they would have a big motivation to say we can cause a bit of an upset here, maybe dampen your prospects of doing well. Like, if Mammoth get an upset 2-0 here, you're thinking, why aren't they in playoffs? Why did their form come in, so late into the season? So I think there's multiple variables. That's at the end of the day, what these players value the most, right? Is it a case of we need the 2-0 because our team is very emotional, we need those hype moments to carry us through, or do we not really care? It's just rep, yep, another game, and on to next week.
On to next week, but that's when it all starts to kick off properly for the split. But again, while we got some time, I want to talk real quick. What is the lane to watch, Talia? Like, which 2 players should we really be paying attention?
I think it's got to be top lane. I feel like with Prey coming in and having like such a strong performance in the last week that we saw him, he looked like such an aggressive player, and he's playing all these champs that you would consider really bad competitive, like his champion pool. Fiora, like Camille, Irelia, Aatrox, only one of them, or one and a half of them, in the Aatrox and Camille you would consider, good competitive champs. So I'm really curious to see, is he going to pull out like stuff like the Irelia, play more Fiora games in competitive, because if these are champs that Fury can make work in a competitive environment, so it's a very, very strong win condition for them in the drafts.
Okay, so more Fiora is what I'm hearing. I'm excited for that. I don't really know what really counters Fiora too much, because I know she can shred through tanks. But talking about shredding, we got someone who's going to be shredding out on the riff real soon, and it's our mate Guncrab over from Mammoth. Mate, how are you doing this fine evening?
Oh, I'm doing great. Yeah. Don't know. Just here to clock in and clock out, I guess.
Come on, guys, mate.
Look, but now, mate, we want to know: have you guys at Mammoth been cooking up something real spicy for us? It's your final night on the LCO, which is definitely unfortunate because we wanted to see so much more of you. But you guys got something cooked up for us?
To be honest, we had a lot of stuff cooked up from the previous weeks. We haven't been practicing that much, obviously, since we got knocked out of playoffs. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll see it. I can't really tell because there's a few conditions, and I don't know. It's just based on how people feel and stuff about going into the spicy stuff. But yeah.
Okay. So I'm hearing that Voice is going to pull out something crazy, like he's going to whip out the Yumi finally, and he's going to feel absolutely blasted on it. So we'll have to see what that's going to look like. Give it a tally.
I mean, I guess since this is, the last time we're going to see you for this season, I want to, get your general thoughts and feelings on, the split as a whole for yourself and your team. Do you have like anything you want to dive into deeper about?
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, like the whole split was a lot different to how I've played in previous splits. There's a lot less expectations and like pressure, just from the get-go, from like the org and people around us, and I felt like it had like the good and the bad, where we weren't practicing as much, but as like weeks went on, kind of just, even though we were losing a lot, we kind of banded together and we actually had some decent games versus some of the better teams. I think if just a few more things went right, and there's also stuff out of our control that happens, then it would be a different story to where we are right now. But yeah, I mean, I think despite not the best results, I don't have too many regrets, and I still enjoyed playing the entire split out.
It's awesome to hear. I'm really glad it came out like on a positive note, because I think that I agree. I view you guys as coming together towards the latter weeks and having much better performances, and figuring out your identities in draft. It looked much better.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose my question, Gunners, is more along the lines. I know you said you wanted to clock in and clock out, but surely there's a part of you, your ego, the pride, sort of like, I want to try and showcase that we should have been in contention here. I want to try and body these guys that are going into the playoffs. And I know in the past, like back in 2021, when you used to play Eddie Carey, you showcased a whole bunch of unique picks, right? We saw Ziggs in the bot lane. I know you had like that Pocket Zeref as an AP option for the bot lane too. We're starting to see more and more Sivir pop up as well as another champion you've played in the past. Are these considerations that are coming back into the fold of things?
Yeah, I've definitely thought about kind of the champions I want to play. I think everyone on the team is kind of just like, I want to play this, and I want to play this. There's not too much consideration about like team comp and stuff. I think everyone kind of just wants to like, I guess go out with a bang and just have fun.
Yeah. Beauty.
We can live with that. We can live with that. But mate, thank you so much for joining us on the desk, and I'm gonna leave you with something real fun. It's like, just don't forget to gun those crabs, man. You have a good night. Enjoy your series.
Thank you. See ya.
You could see the cringe that was on his face from that, and I had to do it. I've been waiting all split to do it, and I was like, it's my last chance. I had to end on a high note for it, so that's why I picked him for that. I was like, I gotta do it. Gotta gun those crabs, man. It's way too easy. But look, they're here for a bit of fun. Obviously, it doesn't feel like they're fully checked into it, but that's again, it is a bit hard from the position that they're in.
Yeah, it would be, absolutely, knowing that you're not where you would have set your expectations, even if there is not much externally driving you to deliver. Sure, there's a part of you that knows that you've played the game for such a long time now. You don't want to be in a position where you're falling short of what sort of has been your pedigree in the past. So yeah, I'm keen to sort of see what they have. If it's not going to be the most cohesive squad, then at least lock in that solo queue style of gameplay. Let's just go super crazy, make it a very entertaining match, and yeah, as he said, go out with a bang.
Yeah, pretty keen for that. We'll have to see what Fury has to decide up on that as well. But do you think they could be pulling anything sort of peculiar? Again, I mentioned I want to see Finder on something a little bit different, but Tally, do you think they're just going to go stock standard in this bot lane again?
I'm not sure, honestly. I feel like there is, on one hand, it's like you can play stock standard because you want to show the best draft that you can. But on the other hand, no implications on the standings right now. So we could see absolutely, waffle comps coming out, just a lot of fun being had. Or, I feel like there is benefits to both. I think that, Guncrab talked about as the leagues went on, they came together as a team, they banded together. Maybe they just want to have a bit of fun as they do go out. Maybe Fury want to just show that they are like this a strong team. And they want to have a really, powerful showing with the best draft they can. And that's probably what they will aim for.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, fully agree. I fully agree. Okay, but I want to ask, before we get into our next interview, what is your most waffle comp, Tally? Like, what is your absolutely bananas comp? Makes no sense. Hit me with it.
I mean, okay, you either go for the wombo combo team fight or you go for a theme comp. You play like the TFT comps. You go for the 5 mythic, or you just drop like the dunk comp, the dunk masters. like Darius, Jarvan. What was that? The one Karzik? No, it was like there was like Darius, Jarvan, Karzik's Jace. I can't remember the last champ.
All the dunk comps, yeah, those all ring true.
Yeah,
I'm remembering when you played support Swain mid. Those were my days. Those are the days where like Kelly's just like, I don't care what the matchup is. Let me just lock in something with like a redemption and a little bit of healing.
It's broken.
Sovereign tried to pull that back out. I think it actually did quite well with Sovereign when he pulled out the Swain mid and was doing some damage. But again, there's no Tally on the Swain mid. That's the difference.
Different beast, mate.
True. Different beast. But no, if you're doing anything, you had to pick one. You know what? Don't even worry about it. You guys have been boring. You didn't give me a good answer. You said dunking.
What?
I want to see dunks. I just want to see dubs. That's the difference. We're going to see some dubs from Hooper, who's joining us out on the desk. Got to give him that swish. Hooper, how are you tonight, my ray of golden sunshine?
I'm pretty excited. How are you all?
Good, thank you.
Good.
Well, we're good, mate. We're good. Now, Hooper, I have to ask, the one thing I've been waiting for, and I hope you can do it for me tonight. Are we going to see the Callista?
Probably, yeah. I'll probably try to play Kalista for you, but I'm not making 100% sure, but I try my best to convince my coach to let me pick Kalista tonight.
Look,
So you
I'm
can
going to
ask
go have a chat with Rosie after this and say no. You put him on Callista for Pyke. That's all I request, because every time I've seen you play it, you do awesome, and I love it. Now that I've said it, I've cast it, cursed it. Now Mammoth's going to go ban it, which is going to feel terrible, and I'm going to be out the back crying. But, mate, how are you feeling? You guys have made playoffs. You're here. You're going to the big show. You guys feeling good?
Yeah, we feel really good after beat Wolf 2 easily. So I think after we make playoff, I feel like whoever we face, I think we're gonna really easily beat them in playoff.
Ooh, the confidence.
mighty
Give me the
words.
confidence.
Big words, Mr. Hooper. I'm very excited to see it because I think individually you've found a lot of great success. Maybe it's the partnership with you and Findo. Maybe it's just individually you're in a better space with the meta and all the rest considered. Champion pool-wise, what are we thinking? We still very much locked in on the AD carries. Is there any room to experiment? We've seen people dabble with things like the Ziggs, maybe even like a Yasuo bot lane, for example. Is there any kind of like crazy tech that you've been working on to make sure that you can, especially when best of threes and best of fives become a thing, you've got that extra little bit of spice and ready to pull out?
Yeah, actually, I did try a bit in solo queue, but I don't want to play those champions. I just want to play normal ID.
Yeah, I understand, mate. Back to Zeri.
That's the
Yeah.
play Callista.
I mean, I guess I'll dive in a bit more on Pike's point, because you guys were, you have been win streaking towards the end of the split, and I want to know, how's the confidence at the Fury camp going to playoffs? And I want to know, like, if you guys do come up against, what we consider the top teams in the upper bracket, are you guys, feeling, with the change in Chirp playing a lot more of these AD mid laners, you feeling a lot more confident going up against those guys?
Yeah, after we had a chat with Job, he's actually expand his champ pool. I think it's really easy to let Rosie to draft. I think it's gonna be really easy in playoff if Job can expand more his champion. It's really good.
Exciting.
Good. So we're going to see Yasuo mid, Malphite top lane, Callista AD carry with Leona, and just slap a Zyra in there, and it's GG's. But mate, Hooper, thank you so much for coming on. We're getting ready to go. You have a fantastic series. I'll see you in playoffs. You have a good night.
Thank you. You too. Have a good night, guys. See ya.
So, yeah.
There he goes.
Look, if I have predicted any of those champions just then, what do I get? Do I get a prize?
You get to read another Postman Pike.
You probably get tagged on Twitter by some fan. They go, "Grats."
Sweet.
You
All right,
know
I'll
about-
take it. I'll
Golf
take
clap.
both.
Yeah, little golf clap. emoji.
Golf clap. That's fine. Let's have a look at where these teams have decided to sit in the side selection and what they're looking to do. Both looking blue, Skimmy.
Yeah, look, it's only been one single team that's gone for the red side, right? Everybody else has now finally jumped to the bandwagon of blue side is just that much more broken. So I think for the longest time we saw it be very lopsided, where the stronger team was like, we go for blue side. The weaker team would always go for red for the counter pick. But I think more and more as it's gone on, people say blue at all costs. There's just too many strong champions to pick. So yeah, I'm excited to see what their priorities are going to be.
Blue at all costs. So if that doesn't do anything but favor what you can put as your prediction, don't even think about it. It's blue side. You got to put it on Mammoth for the first game, then you got to put it on to Fury for the second game, because that's just how easy this is. I'm basically feeding you what this is going to look like. So get those Twitch channel points in. It's almost too simple. It is literally 4 clicks, not including typing how many points you will put in. But let's look at our predictions going into this series and what that's going to look like. And of course, we said Fury.
Yeah.
We said Fury Tally.
Yeah, but it's kind of hard to go past the fact that they're coming off, 2 strong 2-0 performances in recent weeks. They look so good that they've found, this top lane replacement for Tomasino, who they lost in the early weeks, who looked, so strong at the start of the split. I think they have come together as a team, and, with the shift in Chirp's champ pool, they look like a team that can finally start fighting these, top teams in our league.
Took the words out of my mouth. It's almost like we're frying up in the kitchen and I'm just eating a delightful meal. That's what I'm getting.
I like it,
What are
though,
you
that
cooking
you've
though?
come around to this more and more. We said, let them fry, and you're like, no, we can't say that. It's cook. It must be cook. I'm a purist of the terms. Now we're frying. That's what we like to see.
Is frying not cooking though?
Ah, look, mate, look. In the context of a meme, surely, surely.
I'm a big fan of the sous vide.
Oh, can you imagine just drop a sous vide out there? Boom. People are like, what is he talking about, man? And then Sally's like, yeah, he's waffling. We start getting like tangent of like, are we talking about waffle comps now? The broadcast has boomed.
Done. It's that easy. That's how you literally throw it to a sidebar and you're like, how can we just really push the limits of what we're actually saying? Like, where can we go with this? What other, you know what? While we're in the game, I'm going to go look up other cooking methods.
Yes.
And try and get it into the conversation after this.
We just keep talking
Okay.
until production literally moves the camera off us because like, guys, this is not League of Legends anymore. And we're like, what are you going to do about it? They say, oh, you know, move the screen, boom.
Yeah, and they just say, see you later, Pike. And I'm like, oh, man, like, come on, but we can do more. We can deep fry. We can pan fry. Chuck it in the oven. Yeah.
And he's back quickly. Say a few more words before you go away again.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's fine. Well, they haven't even given me the go-ahead, so that's fine. But anyway, again, I'm looking forward to what Fury's going to be able to do and what they can actually get. I've heard the game is now ready. Let's just jump into it. I'm going to go look up some cooking terms. You guys go have some fun and cook up some fun.
Wow, look at this, though. Right out the gates, we've got an Neferi ban and a Fiora ban. Where else in the world would you find a draft like this?
All right, I mean, to be fair, it's so hard to, a lot of people don't play against these champions. It's so rare to verse an Inferior in the mid lane. It's so rare to verse, a good Fiora player in the top lane. Get rid of them. All of a sudden, you're sitting pretty. You're like, all right, you're going to play, Corki, Tristana, the classic. I'm familiar with that. You're going to play a very standard top laner. I'm familiar with that. I'm much more comfortable in this draft now.
Absolutely. Go back to a very much known quantity. It's what you scrim against. It's what you play against in solo queue. It's what you're used to. And not to say that players want to go on autopilot, but to make sure that those split-second decisions work in your favor and you're not hesitating could be the difference here. As Tristana does get looked at. Once again, a case of, is it Zyri? Is it Rumble? Is it Tristana? Is it Cook? So many fantastic options. And it does mean that you get a bit of an insight into what teams value as their apex.
Even though this is a Tristana first pick, very common, first pick in the meta, Skimmy, Duelist is on the board. It's still on the board.
Oh, no. We're not doing this. Okay, well, starting now, we've got ourselves, a bit of Story Weaver, a bit of Sage, and a bit of Umbral Reaper. So there you go.
So they're going a bit for a flex. Don't have any traits yet, but they're spreading out the board, which they have the extra. When you get those extra 3 levels, you hit level 5, can play a trait on their board. Sage is quite strong in the current meta, but I think Duelist just has a better early game Skinny.
Yeah, I think they're just really waiting to try and get those augments to try and build their comp around that, right? Is it going to be a reroll comp? Are they looking to try and get some, late game scaling with a bit of, let's get richer? I don't know. All I do know is that they've locked in double AD carries. They got a Tristana, they got an Ezreal, and they're basically saying that these champions are no longer in TFT, so the conversation's ruined.
Yeah, I mean, they're going for the double AD carry, so it's the economy build. They're playing for that late game Skimmy. You're not going for those early traits in the, aggressive, picks, but Skarner being picked on 14-13 is curious to me because he is, did receive that 5% damage nerf on his Q, which is, quite significant. If you remember yesterday when Pike talked about in his little quiz that this is the currently lowest win rate champion on the patch after that nerf. So curious to see, is he going to be in the jungle, is he going to be in the top lane, because with this Camille being locked in and we know Prey, this is in his wheelhouse with his, trifecta of champions. Good matchup for him too. Very scary for a Mammoth fan.
It certainly is, and that's an interesting question. I actually had two around Fury as to does Prey play tanks, because Thomasina did in the past, but they've just relied on him as being an exclusive carry player. And also, does Chirp, play AD carries as well? Has he picked that one up? Yes, he's leading into the ADs like the Yone, for example, but they're finding their comfort. They're looking to trade. Well, Mammoth, your read on the meta might be just a little bit outdated now.
Yeah, and I still like the look for Fury. You don't need to play tanks in this meta. I believe that, I think it was Bio who mentioned it, he believes carries are just straight up better, and I always think that the higher level or the better you get as a player, the more, tanks don't make sense, because, dodging abilities, playing better micro in team fights, you can output more damage while avoiding damage, so carries just start to become better and better. The higher MMR, the higher skill level you get as a player. And that's why we're seeing, from the best teams in the world, we're seeing like triple AD carry comps, Soul frontline. And, when we come back to, like, the bigger minor regions like NA or EU, where you're not really looking at LEC or LCK, I mean, LPL or LCK, they're playing a lot more of the double frontline comps, and it's just much more comfortable. And I think that these comps, or the one that Fury is showing, especially if they do lock in this Callisto for this aggressive bot lane, really allows them to take over this game if they have, late game win conditions and early game win conditions.
Well, that's exactly it, right? I mean, the Callista's going to destroy any 1v1 or at least any 2v2 from the very early levels. The Zyra's going to have a fantastic farm, and if we know what Chirp did last time on the Yone, it's getting close to double digits on the kills too. So certainly got themselves a very solid start. Pyke is off somewhere, cheering, very happy that one of the champions that he requested did get locked in. Rosie said, you know what, I'll give you this one. As Mammoth say, all right, time to round out this composition. We need a little bit of AP. That'll be found in the isolated Talia pick. And do we want another tank?
This might be a Skarner support skimmy, and you know we don't really care about the nerfs to his damage when you put him in this position where I think there's multiple iterations I've seen of the Skarner in the bot lane where he can be that comet spam with the W. Very hard to avoid that damage he outputs, but he can also be this tank in bot lane who can do so much disruption when he hits that burrow onto champs who dive forward. And I think it's very nice by Fury if they decide not to pick a champ who goes forward, instead play the range, play these lane bullies who are good with the Callista but don't have to dive onto the Skarner and get outplayed by that burrow.
Look at that. I was thinking, hang on a minute, that's a brand new champion. I haven't seen Fresh in multiple months. At the very last second, so you know what, Psych, it's actually Pyke. And now Pyke gets to win on two different fronts. He's in the game alongside the champion he wanted to play.
He's in the bot lane, Timmy. He has finally locked himself in. He is playing for Fury this game. I like Pyke as a champion. I just think there's a very high skill ceiling to it. If you mess up, you miss a Q, you're quite a useless champion for like the next 4 or 5 seconds. If you do land that ult, find these resets in the team fight. I remember like we think back to like PGG. Rogue was the last, known Pyke player that I remember. He had, this combo he would always do where, he never played for the reset on his ult because it's just quite inconsistent and competitive. He always used his ult as a gap closer to set up his E-stun. And I thought that was very nice to see because it really, catches these players off guard. And if you get the kill, that's all that matters in the end. You're unable to, spread the gold with the ult passive that you would usually get. But, getting the kill in the end is still a win.
What it certainly is at this level, right? It's all about, getting the job done and feeding the resources into the right avenues. And it's certainly not to say that a Pyke champ can be weak. You look at Solitude and they go 10-0 or 0-10, very much one of those kind of champions. But I think it's certainly an opportunity for them to flex their might. Incredibly aggressive. Yeah, sure. The excitement comes with the Skarner as a support, but can it handle the pressure that a Callista and Pyke can offer? Because if they get one little whiff of you making a slight misstep, that lane is not going to be very fun whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that when I look at the bot lane for both sides, the Ezreal Skarner don't really have the, we all of a sudden want a skirmish, we're going to completely blow this lane out of proportion. No, it's more like they're going to be able to scale up and be much more happy. But when you look at the Fury bot lane, if they, blow summoners, if they find those kills, if they win a skirmish, all of a sudden this bot lane is completely unplayable for Mammoth. And whenever they have priority on this Pyke, Fino can roam around the map and start to impact the other lanes, especially a mobile champion like Talia.
And I would almost say that Pyke is similar to an Ezreal or a Nidalee. Like, you need a pilot or a license to pilot this champion, because there's only a handful of people that go for it. And a bad one, it's very clear to see, isn't it, right? It's a case of it could have been any other champion, but you've locked in this one. So you're expecting to see good things here coming out of Findo. And a showcase of, once again, a game to close out, a series to close out this regular season where there are no grand implications. It's a chance for these pros to have a little bit of fun. One team venturing forward into the playoffs, the other here to close out this year and bring it all to a close. Let's then see if anything happens from the level 1 go, as Mammoth are grouped up as 5.
Do not have that, go button that Fury does have in the, the Brain Fuel coming out of the Pyke, but they do have, a very strong level 1 with Tristana and Ezreal, and, that Pathmaker that does come out of the Cassante as a level up, even though you do want to go for that Q usually just to have a much better level 1 in your own individual lane. So it's nice to see that they are using their strength to be able to create some pressure on the map, get some vision to make sure that Nox, who wants to full clear consistently, might be disrupted in his path.
Certainly is the case, right? How many times have we seen Nox get allowed to do as he please and just, 1v9. Basically, farm up a storm, rock up to the fights, take you all down in the process too, and find himself in a situation where, the only AP is in the jungle for both sides at just that. So speed is of the essence. A chance to see what Mammoth have in store for us, because if it's a case of them locking in their champions, their preferences, I think Gunkrab's going to be happy with the Ezreal and probably voice more than anybody, right? Actually, both supports, to be fair, have been released from support prison because the Nautilus and Leona were banned.
Yeah, and we do see Voice go for that comment on the Scunner, so this is probably going to be that, you know, W spam that I was talking about in lane. It is quite annoying to deal with, especially if he did go for the Scorch, which is most likely the most common option on the champion. And it's a lot of harass that can go down onto this duo of Fury in the bot lane, and if they do not find a window to be aggressive, we might just see that health advantage being chipped away very slowly when the level 2 comes out for this member.
Well, speaking of level 2, I'm not even waiting to find it in the mid lane right now, as both Chirp and Predator get incredibly aggressive. And, you know, we've seen this matchup a lot over the weeks gone by, and usually are waiting for the first base, that level 5, level 6 margin before the Yone does truly ramp up their pressure. But hang on a minute. What is going on here?
There's
a funny business.
Talio over the wall of his son, Skivvy. And he's out of there.
He's gone. He's absolutely outplayed Fury there and said, Findo, I'm going to make you do ring around the rosy, go the wrong direction, and Nox not going to be a happy jungler.
I understand his Nox's thought process. A very common thing to do when you are invaded on the map split is, as the you know, the red side jungler, you start your red buff and then you collapse onto the enemy when you're on your Gromp or your Wolves, and because, you know, you do have smite advantage generally, you can find them out, or you can catch them off guard as they are tanking in camp and win that 1v1. But Forever recognizes that, doesn't even go for a camp and just goes and hides in Fog of War, or, you know, maybe he caught Nox out as he walked in, chunked him out, and then just outplayed both these members. So really well played by Forever to find that first blood.
It's a phenomenal start, and certainly is going to be in the back of their heads now that, well, this guy's not going to take any prisoners here. He's going in, he's going out, and he's going to make sure that we aren't going to have the, you know, perfect ending to the split that we would have been looking for. Finder, though, he's going to poke his head into the mid lane, see what he can find, enough to bolster out the rocket jump, as Chirp was ready and waiting to pounce upon that one. But then a rare reprieve to check in with top lane. You can see that Prey's already crashing that wave, already looking for a roam, and with the assistance of Finder, it's a case of let's get blue buff to the Zyra.
Yeah, and this is the, you know, the nice thing about the Pyke support. He's going to run around the map and impact this top side and make sure that his jungler, who was invaded on the bot side, does pick up the camps and make sure that he is back in the game, because this Zyra is a major win condition for this comp and need to make sure that their sole AP threat is always strong.
It's always been that talking point, hasn't it, right? When you have that isolated damage profile, making sure that it is relevant, because it feels so bad if they can just itemize completely against you and you just get ignored when those fights do play out. Kalista obviously very short range, incredible damage output, but he's going to handle himself for the meantime in this 1v2. You're going to be noticing that Voice at any given moment is going to try and be a menace and proc that arcane comment. But now Fino's back to back him up to make it a 2v2. In mid lane, you do wonder if Predator would want to go for this. He does in the end with the rocket jump, but then instantly sees Nox come back. He's regretting that decision, and he will fall down for Fury's first kill.
Another flash being held, Skimmy. So we're seeing this quite common where players, you know, aren't respecting with their summoner spell and using that one to be able to survive these engages out of these members collapsing onto them. So Predator with the flash there does fall down. The kill does go to Chirp, which means he's going to be able to pick up those Berserkeries on that first recall, even though Predator has already committed that teleport back to lane. So this lane is very comfortable for Chirp from now on.
Certainly is, and that does go from bad to worse, and certainly accelerating his ability to continue to be that lane bully in the 1v1 isolated. I suppose we're looking elsewhere on the map then to try and figure out, okay, where does Forever want to play towards? What lane does he want to try and empower? Because both our top laners are rookies, but it would seem that Prey's looked a little bit more comfortable in comparison to Renekton.
Yeah, we haven't really seen Renekton have these pop-up performances on anything besides the Renekton so far, so he is playing the Cassante. This is a fine matchup into the Camille. We have seen, you know, even as the Camille scales up and you consider the champion someone who can really blow these tanks up when they get 1-2 items, Cassante can match the all-in threat from the Camille, so it is a tank who can play the side lane and can match the threat of these fighters. So if he does well in the laning phase, they do have someone to match the side lane threat that Fury has drafted.
And very early on into that draft, I was wondering, oh, is this going to be a Scunner to match up into the Camille like we saw from Biopanther? Not to be the case, though. Nox wants to poke his head in to see, can I actually take this dragon or can I not? Voice dashing across that wall, looking to try and entertain it. The full combo dropped there by Chirp. Two members locked in place by the CC. As the soul gets snapped right back, the stun comes in through, but the damage has already been done. And Finder's now also going to find himself a kill. He overcommits himself, and Predator takes him down to find a double, but it's an absolute wipe in Fury's favor.
Yeah, 2 for 3 trade in favor of Fury, and 2 kills going over to Chirp. Already picked himself up the champion bounty. Very scary champion to be accelerated when you only have, you know, one major tank. You don't have a lot of instant CC who can outplay this champion. With that snapback, he is very comfortable this game to, you know, engage onto these champs and find these fate seals which can take over team fights.
And we were thinking, Telly, that just that one individual kill in itself was going to be enough. He's now got a double. He's now 3 kills with a bounty. It's getting a little bit brutal here. And I mean, quite honestly, Nox is really teasing him into this bad situation.
Yeah, Nox walked up, but there was no cooldowns for the Mammoth members to be able to get take him out there. There was no pebbles to stun him. There was no explosive shot from Prey to find that kill. So has to commit again to be able to get that kill. And Chirp comes over with a level 6 advantage and he's the difference in this fight.
It certainly is. And now you have to wonder, all right, how do we deal with this Yone? We've got to deal with the Camille split pushing, but the Yone is going to be that much further ahead of us. And sure, Tristana wants to always be in the 1v1, but it's just going to keep going against them unless something drastically changes, because certainly Fury, only 7 minutes in, are already working towards a bit of a snowball motion.
Yeah, a lot of snowballing happening in this game from both sides, actually. You know, even though these trades are going in favor of Fury, the members of Mammoth are getting gold. You know, we are seeing gold going into forever. Very comfortable with the scaling of this game. Preyth is picking up some kills as well, so while his lane opponent is really strong, he does, you know, have the makings of that, you know, Kraken Slayer to be able to do the DPS he needs to when Chirp goes in.
Certainly is a massive breakpoint for that champion, no doubt about it. And we always talk about the ability to rush down these objectives, and whilst Desire certainly can solo it at the 20-minute mark, they have a Callista for the insurance to make those 50-50 flips even more secure, but then the Mammoth Sky do have the double AD carry set up, so there is a world in which they can certainly sneak that one in if they do fall further and further behind. You can see there Prey being a bit of a menace, trying to do some Spidey moments up against the wall with Forever just waiting to see if the dive were to happen. He's just going to take a camp for the meantime, and as we can see from the minimap, Nox is nowhere near, so there would not be any protection.
Yeah, this is, you know, a classic bait you see. You know, you sit on low mana, you look like you're very susceptible to getting, you know, dove or trade on. Have the 2 cookies in your inventory where you can, you know, instantly consume one or both of them to get mana back instantly. You know, Prey does look like he's susceptible, but he has a lot of mana sitting in his inventory to outplay this potential dive that would have gone onto him.
He certainly does, also with a Cold to boot, 50 stacks remaining, so halfway towards that being completed, and making sure that there is a little bit of daylight between these two. Now Chirp is the focus. Oh, what a fantastic denial of that Fade Unsealed, as Chirp is forced to not only burn the ult, but the flash too to get to safety and deny Mammoth from finding the kill they were after. Nox rocks up to the mid lane, drops the Stranglethorns, and finds Retribution.
How unfortunate. It looked like such a nice game coming out of the Mammoth side, but, you know, even though the Fate Sealed was blocked, has access to that Q3, which allows him to dash out of there, and with the follow-up of Finder and Nox being around mid lane, Predator doesn't have flash that time, so he does no way to outplay that.
Finder still roaming, still not level 6 though, so the ultimate for the gap close or for the execute yet to be found, but still being a menace. And you'd say, well, in isolation, surely this means that Hooper gets the solo farm, but he's actually only even given the amount of pressure that Mammoth can do. As a 2v1, it is to be expected they just run straight past the tower and take him down as a casualty, really.
Did not have the flash up. It was a couple seconds that one kill cooldown. Didn't have the barrier, but the moment that, you know, Burrow connects onto the wall, recognizes that he is not outplaying that one, so he saves his summoners. Is playing the Callista, but he's not being enabled this game. We're very used to seeing this champion, you know, constant tower dives going onto the bot side, constant ganks, but he's playing this weak side Callista and allowing Fino to roam and impact the map because they just value Nox being strong over everything.
Yeah, it feels like a very curious case of if you're going to play it this way, why not play the Ezreal or anything of the same, you know, sense, right? Where you can just sit back and have the mobility, whereas, you know, the Callista, you'd imagine, incredibly strong 2v2 and an ultimate that has little to no value because your support's just simply not there. Yeah,
it's definitely a champ who needs a pairing to use its complete strength or the complete kit. You know, you're missing a lot of damage from that W proc, you know, the Fate's Call with ult. And this is a champ that in isolation or a lane that will do really, really well now because Chirp has, you know, the makings of the, you know, the Berserkeries plus the attack speed item in the recurve burst. So he has max cooldown on that Q, 5 points in it. But it doesn't matter, Skimmy, when you face check the Bugger Wall.
It does not matter. That's certainly a rule on League of Legends. Never face check those brushes, and he's learned that one the hard way. He's dropped that bounty, dropped that perfect KDA, and down for 20 seconds whilst he has to watch his team try and pop off and salvage something. The Stranglethorn goes out. That gets flashed away from there by Gunkrab, but he dies all the same. The True Shot Barrage being his final Hail Mary. And then Hooper also going to get pounced upon here by Forever. The Impale at the very last second. That's a double now for Forever. And they've absolutely crushed them here.
Yeah, Fury felt a bit, you know, maybe forced to go for that dive because of the aggression that went onto mid lane, but they were collapsing instantly. They recognized there's a wave coming into bot side. Gunkrab needs protection. He does such a good job with the flash, with the Arcane Shift to buy so much time. You know, trades double flashes to make sure that he goes down, and, you know, Forever's in the right position. Finder does not find an execute as we do go into the replay here. You know, Gunkrab doing such a good job, lands that double True Shot Barrage, does so much damage. such an easy cleanup for these members. You come here forever, just positioning. You're running away from the turret into the the Gatling gun of the Talia, throwing out all these pebbles, and just a nice ult from Voice to lock up this kill. And Findo's ult does not find execution in time as the pebbles come out and finish him.
And look, Tally, to be quite frank, I think Ferris having a phenomenal start here. We're used to seeing Gudo on this roster. He's come in and really laid down the law to Nox and says, you're not going to have any fun whatsoever on the premier jungler, no less. What is the flash? And it really does become as easy as that. And all this fantastic work here for the Yone. Kratos just weathered the storm with the assistance of his team. He's back.
What a comeback for Predator in the mid lane. He recognizes, I have the Kraken now. You're not the boss of this lane anymore. We aren't seeing the complete item from Chirp yet, so he can't muscle out this player, not recognizing he's not stronger anymore because Kraken is such a big power spike for a champion who has such a strong attack speed steroid in the early game. So really nice by Predator to dodge out on that knockup, find the solo kill, and get himself back in the game.
Back in the game, and then back in the driving seat as well, because they've got 2 dragons, 3 grubs, and a 2k gold lead. So certainly an early game, and working its way towards a mid game in which you think, okay, where has this Mammoth been all split long?
And we do see the all-out going on to top side, so I have to see what is going to happen up there. If it's going to be a bit of a chunk as Prey goes on the turret. But, look at this. Predator's pretty much face tanking Chirp's damage and winning those trades comfortably. I guess the sustain is, the match in sustain with the fleet and the absorb life. But, with the Vamp Scepter being there on Chirp's side, if these fights do extend, they will favor him in the sustain department.
Well, they certainly will. Just a case of can the likes of the Kalista and the Yone hit that sooner rather than later, because they're falling further and further behind on these item breakpoints. Predator with the Kraken. Trinity Force now done for Gun Crab. And a Warmogs also for Voice on this Skarner support, which so far, I'd say that the experiment's been very successful.
Yeah, this Skarner looks very good, but what also looks very good? This very fed Talia.
Yeah, it's just not fair at this stage. Everything chucked towards him, and finally the first kill is found by Nox. Not to be outdone by Predator, who says, you can't get that and not get away with it. Nice sidestep, but does he survive? It looks like he might, Tally. It's just phenomenal.
What movement from this is, I'm getting PGG vibes from Predator right now. He looks so comfortable playing one of these strong AD carries in the mid lane, but I was going to say, it looks so bad for Mammoth there as soon as Forever went down, and even though Nox was traded in tandem, there was all these plants as we do go into the replay. This initial play looks really good, but they see the Q that comes out of Fourier gets blocked by the plant summon. They do find the trade onto Nox coming out of Fred, but there's so many plants shooting him right now. So even though this is a 1v1, there's so many plants falling up there, but just really nice collapse from Reneko to make sure his mid laner finds that double kill.
It's been impressive, honestly. This feels like a completely different squad that we've seen from all year long. I'm not sure what it took. Was it a case of they just need a little bit of extra time together to figure things out, figure out the meta, figure out their playstyle, or is it a case of the pressure's being alleviated and now they get to play their best brand of League of Legends?
Maybe that is the case because, Guncrab was mentioning there was some pressure amounted to them on this roster, and they just look so, free to just do a good job as a team. And then when you see Predator living again with the miss, when I help Chirp!
Chirp, that was disgusting, and that has worked wonders on this occasion to really upset the balance of the momentum that Mammoth are working their way towards. True shot barrage from Dantan, not to find anything, but that Hextech ultimatum certainly will. Mini Cho'Gath ult on a basic ability, as you've so famously coined. And it gets Prey back into fighting spirits.
This is the classic, I hold my points game is this fight is just always extended.
Oh my god, Prey, so lucky not to die in that situation. The Strangle Forward is fantastic, locks him just on the edge there with a double knock-up. Going all out is Reneko, the Ignite not to be found. 2 members taunting his Cassandre. The bait with the passive, the shield, it's there. And Forever says, well, why are we losing? Why are we not getting any of these stragglers? We have to find something a little bit extra. The flash forward, the stun! Oh, there is no death from below.
The Pike dopamine scheme, you get the reset, you want to go fishing for more, but the one getting found that time was Finder on the Pike. But overall, I got to give it to Reneko. He's playing really well in these skirmishes on this Cassandra. Just unfortunate, when you press that W, you feel a bit invulnerable, but Pike ult does true damage and he will find you if you are on that low amount of health.
So he will, and now you really have to wonder who actually wins, because this game is going back and forth. No clear indicator as to early game amounting to much more than just a chance for the opposition to fight on back. Yeah, an invitation for Voice to poke his head into mid lane and make Chirp's life a little bit of a living misery, but yeah, it's a hard one to call now. It almost feels like it's going to go down to an objective battle.
Yeah, I think we're going to see the same story from mid lane. Chirp is just a player who will never, ever, ever stop playing aggressive. He's going to continually go forward, and as long as he has members to back him up here, he will feel very comfortable doing that. But, you know, if we are going to see him keep going forward, could potentially be punished if there is, you know, the Impale coming out of voice to, you know, lock him down before he is able to snap back.
Nice, good little buffer there, denying what could have been another little straggle kill that would have gone the way of Fury. But Mammoth feeling inspired. I mean, look, to have those dragons stacked up nice and early, and to have a third one to look at now, if they can get there in time, they certainly put themselves in a very strong win condition.
And this is the win condition right now. It's the Taliyah. This Taliyah is so good into the enemy comp. You know, minus the Zyra who does outrange you. There's so many dashes, so many low-range champs on the enemy team. Pair that with the Pebbles, maybe even a TP flank out of Predator, and this could be Hooper going down.
Imagine that. You've got a flanking AD carry versus another AD carry. And who wins? Well, the Kraken Slayer trumps them all. Chirp doesn't have the ultimate right now, so the Soul Unbound looks good, and it is going to snap back and deny that seismic shove. But Mammoth bully themselves into the river, take back what is theirs, and set it sole point for us.
What a different looking Mammoth. You know, they look so comfortable taking these micro scenarios where they keep outplaying the enemy, and forever so fed on this Taliyah. I was mentioning this is one of their win conditions. They're still playing for the invade. Nox does not have flash.
Back-to-back plays, though, is that they're undoing. We see it all too much happen. We get a little bit greedy. Predator jumps across the triangle forms, ignores all that botany. Out goes the Seal of Fate, and Lockdown down with a two-man impale as well. If it wasn't for that cheeky Soul snapping back, Chirp may have died in a heartbeat as well. Now he's going to go for a massive rush straight down to bot lane, turns around, concedes it in the end. And even Prey not finding much success now in the 1v1 up against Reneko.
They're just winning everywhere, Skimmy. You know, they felt so confident to pick this Camille initially early on in the draft. Prey is doing a good job to, you know, scale up. He hasn't fallen down. He has been available in these team fights to pick up these kills. But Reneko doing his job as the Cassandre, marking the Camille, make sure he cannot win these side lanes. And as we go into this replay, I think Nox is just playing a bit too aggressive here. Doesn't have access to the flash. His mid laner is not here to back him up yet, and he just walks up and falls over. And the moment this Zyra is not here to threaten the Taliyah in these fights, the only champ who really has the, you know, range to be able to threaten this Taliyah, it's free reign for forever. And look at his inventory. He's already finished 2 items.
Yeah, it's broken. So strong. Incredibly hard to lock on down. It's been very impressive on his ability to be, you know, isolating out key members at the right time to ruin their potential leads that they did have. And you can see right there, top 3 is all to do with Mammoth. He's got 10,000 gold. And his second closest being Praetor, who's under fire right now. Taking the 1v1, waiting for the snapback. And that snapback damage was the difference.
Both these players have enormous ego, Skimmy. None of them want to lose on the 1v1, but unfortunately, if you do not dodge all these abilities, I'll hold my point as we see the engage coming out.
Yeah, there is the Hextech Ultimatum locking inside that Octagon, but Fino jumps in aggressively, gets baited by that one, gets sucked away by the Callista, and gets to live to fight another day. True Shot Barrage not going to connect, but doesn't he end? How on earth is that one being sniped apart there by Gunkrab? Beautifully found in the mid lane. And this is descending very quickly into a battle of who can get the better KDA.
And on the side, we see Forever pick up Chirp, you know, very low member, pushing up, face checks the Taliyah on the fog. You're going to get one shot, especially based on the items he has in his inventory. Already has the makings of the Crypt Bloom, so he's going to be doing so much damage, even if Magic Resist does come out of the enemy team, which he probably shouldn't because he is solo AP. So if they do start building Magic Resist, the major members, you know, in the Tristana and the Ezreal are going to be doing so much to your, you know, frontline.
Yeah, and that concern about how does Ezreal itemize against these, you know, very tanky champions with just a mitigation that can come out from the armor stacking, no longer an issue. You will be working your way towards that true damage potential because you've just been lucky enough to find yourself with a jungler already at double digits, 10 kills in 20 minutes for 20 kills overall. And I think these next 2 minutes are the most crucial, right? Get yourself that third item. There is the Crypt Bloom too. And you get yourself that Ocean Soul to really make sure that Fury had no way to answer back.
Yeah, and I have kept talking about how, you know, strong Mammoth look right now. They do, it's very obvious how they're going to win this game. You know, they should feel much more comfortable in these team fights. And, you know, these side lanes, while they are favored for Fury, they can handle them. And I think that's a really important thing to note. But looking at Fury's comp, they have so much pick potential in that bot lane. And I think that is their major tool to get back into the game. I don't think Prey can play for the side lane anymore just because, you know, this Tristana is so strong. But with this Baron being started, this is for sure a win condition that Fury can contest.
Well, this is where it gets exciting, right? Because both teams are phenomenally well equipped to deal with this Baron. And it's a case of, well, where is Prey in the scope of making sure that second item comes online? You've got the Trinity Force, you want the Ravenous Hydra, you need that threat to try and draw Mammoth away from this Baron pit. But in the 4-1 split, they are continuing to be aggressive. Of course, it is Chirp that leads that line. But look at the amount of space that Prey's been afforded. He's just taking towers like you wouldn't believe.
And that is so nice for him, picking up that 700 gold on the inner tower. Is going to be able to afford his second item most likely on that reset. But, you know, how funny is that? You know, Findo finds Prey with recalling. He's like, oh, you're in the wrong ends, bruv. Shanks him and then runs away with stopping the recall. So nice little reset stop coming out of the support, which, you know, denies Prey being able to make that bot tower, defend that one, and that's the reason why we see Prey picking up 2 items right now, maybe being a bit accelerated for this game state.
But I'm wondering what the main the lane matchups look like now, because Prey has picked up the second item. He has now rushed straight towards the Baron, but they are the only 2 people that have the TP available, himself and Predator, who are playing towards that bot lane so far. But the Baron was just a bit of a bait. It's a dance. It's an attractive option that they were truly, I don't believe, ever committed to, because this Ocean Dragon is up now in 10 seconds, and it doesn't look like Fury are even entertaining the idea of contesting the Soul Point.
I think this might be a mistake by Fury to trade the Baron for the Ocean Soul. I think the Ocean Soul is just way too valuable. You know, Baron gives you this 3 minutes where you are strong, where you can push these waves. But, you know, Ocean Soul stays with you the entire game. It does afford the Elder Dragon to spawn, so maybe trading it is what they want and allow the Elder Dragon to spawn for a win position later on. But there's still 4 members from Mammoth here, Skinny.
They're all in. Forever's going to jump from one side. No way. I do not believe it. They've got the Dragon. They've got the Baron. They've stolen it all. Forever may just be the GOAT on his debut. Rocket up and Shank. This is how you get it done. He finds himself a double. He's 12 kills tally. And this is a Mammoth. If we'd seen this from week 1, they would for sure be in playoffs.
If there was ever a him, Forever is him. He has done the impossible, sails in on the wall, and he finds the Baron steal, finds the members as well with that. You know, you throw down the pebbles as you come off the wall, so much disruption, pit out with the Zhonya's, you just created so much space, stole the Baron, got the soul. What can't this guy just give me?
I mean, at this stage, you can't give therapy to Nox because he's 1-7. This is a game that you just would not expect to come up from him. 1-7, Baron stolen away from them, everything committed, even the ult with 15 billion plants there to assist. It just wasn't quick enough, and now Predator is acting like a split-pushing Camille. He is weaving in those auto attacks, he's buying time, hoping for space. But that's one less Baron buff on the cards.
No song is on its leave here. This fight does extend. He is susceptible.
Oh, Chirp, what an ultimate. Stuck in a corridor, as narrow as you like it, locks them down as easy as you can. And the Barons were there for a second and just removed in a heartbeat.
And a Voice, thankfully, out of combat, 15% movement speed on this item. He's going to zoom out of there. It's broken, Skimmy, but, you know, we do go back into the replay. We see Praetor soloing off that Dragon. They recognize it's a free objective. They want to play for the contest. They do have the TP on Praetor, but what a steal coming out of Forever. No burst, just straight hands, sealing that one with the smite button. And it's just over from this point when there's so many collapses coming from multiple angles.
1500 on the dot, done and deleted, taken in their possession. And look, if there's ever a time to talk about tilt, maybe it is on this occasion. Here we go again for yet another fight.
Another double.
And another double. And really at this stage, it is a case of both himself and Predator breaking even. 7-7-7.
Sharing their scores in the mid lane, but, you know, with Fury picking up so many kills, so they are closing the score lead, and there isn't such a one-sided affair when it comes to the scaling. You know, I think that Forever is the one member that is, you know, clearing out ahead, but when you look at the rest of the members from both sides, they are quite similar when it comes to the DPS they're going to be outputting based on the items in their inventories. I think that this could really be anyone's game. It just really depends on who sets up well and who continues to play these fights better.
And from the very get-go, you're thinking, this is looking Fury favoured. Chirp gets a few, and you're thinking, well, there's no way to answer back. We've seen this matchup time and time again throughout this entire split. Then they completely throw it against the grain and change up their tune once more. Now you're really wondering, is this going to be a game that goes on long and long and long, where respawn time is the only way to stop this down, because all we do is fight. There is no chance to set up these fantastic wave states. We just want to showcase how strong we are at any given stage. Voice with the Warmogs. He's gone down for 40, but not before Forever showcases that I am the king of the castle, and you're never going to get to me.
I don't know about that one, Skimmy. That looked quite into coming out of Nox, running a straight line at the Fed Talia and just blow yourself up. You know, you have to respect the amount of damage coming out of these pebbles that Forever is throwing at you. It doesn't have that death cap yet, so it's not like a bomber moment, but the damage he is outputting is unmatched.
So he is unmatched, and yeah, you're just wondering at what point do they look to try and put a bow on things. They'll take that first inhibitor, the one they'd set up initially with the Baron, but now they will finally take it on down. 14 kills, yet again still holding half of their overall damage done, and yeah, I mean, what way do they have to try and get onto this Talia?
Well, he is sitting for a flank here. They do see Nox. Is he going to jump over the wall when he doesn't recognize where the rest of the members are?
Well, if it's not him, it's going to be Predator. Of course, it's Marky, whereas he's always keen for a biff. Chirp jumps in there, assisted by the Strangleforce, and it's going to be successful. They're going to find it. They've taken down Talia. The Zonia's was good. It was used, but it wasn't to be enough. And finally, it's a massive injection of gold and a chance to maybe say, oh, we're actually a lot closer than you think now because you've lost your star player. Prey decides not to go against the wall. And I honestly, good luck, Talia, trying to break down this game.
I'm so nervous every time I see Mark Lewis sit in fog a wall and stop moving. I know he is cooking up something devious, and maybe that was not the play. Deathcap is completed forever. He is so strong. He needs his team to help him, though. There is so much dive threat onto him. If he doesn't have that flash, the Fate Seal does find if he is forced to blow his Zonias out of position, he can absolutely fall down. Thankfully, with this Elder coming up in a minute, flashes for both the jungle and mid of the Mammoth side are coming up. There is no, major threat onto these members anymore when they're able to outplay with these summoners.
This might be one of those rare moments where we get treated to a Elder. I feel like if we were to say how many we'd seen without even checking the stats, I could probably count it on one hand. The games have been so quick, or the Dragons have just seen, simply ignored. And this might be the deal breaker, the one that ends it all, with the late game respawn time as being the final touch. And it's going to be perfectly timed, given that we did have that Dragon for Baron Steel.
Yeah, we might see Mammoth late to the setup, though, because we recognize that Predator is walking to the top side, matching Chirp. Chirp did not complete that reset, though, so he's staying around. Maybe he wants to cheese Predator here. Just saw him use the rocket jump. That one is going to come off cooldown thanks to the Navori Blaze.
Oh no, he jumped into his own death. Say it ain't so. Chirp has no ability to try and dash across the wall because he doesn't have a flash. And that really is as lucky as you get.
The classic Tristana. W resets on Bomb Explosion and reset. And when you auto-attack with Navori, infinite mobility. Both going to reset. Both going to want to TP to this fight to make sure they're there on time and be ready. Look at the inventories of both these members. They are so fed. They have so much damage. Who is going to find this initial engage, Jimmy?
Quick flash check. Both the AD carries have that one up and available. That could be the difference right now. Both supports ready to rock and roll. Nox is already gone. Nox is dead. There's no chance. There's no opportunity. He's been smited. He's been taken on down. Look at that. What? Triple impale. Voice, stop that. That is disgusting. As Prey tries to salvage something, jumps off the wall, looks at Predator and takes him down with assistance of Findo's ultimate. But Reneko finally unleashed on the map with assistance. Makes it ever so effortless. Voice is going to do a few doughies, but Forever is just going to pebble them down for a quadra.
Triple impale, flash burrow. What can't this guy do? Why do you make him play Leona, Mammoth? Come on, he looks so much better on the supports where he just has a lot more playmaking tools when he has that, members diving onto his major carriers. And Forever has an absolute monster performance on this Talia, constantly invading, finding leads, finding Nox out in the jungle. And this was just, far in between a jungle gap.
Biggest jungle gap we've probably seen all split, to be quite frank. Not a way to open up your account in the dying moments of the season to say, where were you all season long? 2 wins and 10 losses before tonight. But Mammoth, they'll find another one here.
What an absolute showing out of this roster, We always talk about what are they going to do? What do they want to have a bit of fun? Do they want to still show that they are contenders? And they have drafted a very meta comp and shown that they, maybe if they had a couple more weeks, they would have been contenders going into playoffs, Jimmy.
That's exactly right. I mean, they've cooked in the past. We've had the Morgana jungle. We've had the Seraphine bot lane. We've seen a little bit of Smolder thrown into the mix as well. But this might be their best cook of all. They've absolutely fried Fury. They've taken him to the dry cleaners and back. And they'll go to the break with a 1-0 lead.
It does afford the Elder Dragon to spawn, so maybe trading it